Hi guys, I'm Eliza Grace, and I am a musician, I'm an artist, I'm an entrepreneur, and this is my interview. I don't remember a specific time in my life personally when I heard about mental illness. I'm gonna imagine, I would imagine it was somewhere around the concert scene, because I was listening to a lot of rock music at that time, a lot of Nirvana and whatnot, and that's always a very dark, I don't know, it tends to be a very dark subject, and probably heard of mental illness through music, because I grew up in an especially conservative family, so we didn't really talk about mental illness very much. I think that as time goes on, mental illness has a clearer perception to people. I think it's a little more clear that mental illness isn't just someone being psychotic or crazy or schizophrenic. It can be much smaller than that. Smaller, I guess that's relative, but it can be as small as, depression, and something like that escalates. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that you're psychotic. So I think in that respect, the world is getting more clear on an idea, a good idea of what mental illness is, and just a deeper understanding of how to relate with each other and whatnot. I feel when I have a huge fear of missing out, which is why I travel all the time, and why I don't know, it's why I like when people are enjoying something, I also want to enjoy it. So the times when I feel I'm living my fullest life are often when I am doing new things. So the first time I moved out, I was it was all or nothing. I moved out, I got my license, I saved up, I moved out, I traveled to 10 different states by myself, moved to the biggest city I possibly could, the farthest away I could possibly get, and to me, I felt I was living my life full then, because I was doing all these things that I've never done before, and I was expanding my comfort zone and doing things that were way outside my comfort zone. So at that point, I felt I was living my life to the fullest. Times when I haven't been, or can recall when I haven't been, are often times when I feel stagnant, I think. So when I'm doing a lot of repetitive things, when I'm doing the same thing or the same routine multiple times a day or multiple times a week even, and I just start to see a pattern in all the things that I'm doing, I often feel very stagnant, and I feel I'm not living my life to the fullest then, because every day is the same. But that's just me. Yes, so when I was 17, 18, I became bulimic. I feel I've always been very into my image, and I've been super health conscious for a very long time, and I'm very passionate about that. But the disease started, and I can pinpoint it, because I was training for a bodybuilding competition, actually. I was really underweight in high school, just because I ran a lot. I wasn't sick or anything, I just ran a lot. And I wanted to put on weight, so I trained for a bodybuilding competition, and the diet ended up being way stricter than I imagined, and I was overtraining all the time. I think I was probably putting in 3 hours of working out 7 days a week, and I wasn't eating hardly anything at all, and I was on supplements, just running off of caffeine. It's literally the reason I started drinking coffee. And I had a problem with laxatives, and I had a problem with chewing my food and spitting it out. And those were kind of at two separate times. But I think because I felt so deprived during that training period afterwards, I had birthday, I had Christmas, I had Thanksgiving, I kind of just, I felt very guilty about the food I was eating because I worked so hard for the body I had, and I felt peer pressure to come across like I didn't have a problem. I think deep down inside maybe I did, but it was ultimately the peer pressure of other people that I think started the eating disorder, because I felt like I couldn't maintain the body I had at the time, and people were like kind of forcing food on me and so I ended up not being ready to eat the food psychologically and then would just purge it. So that's how that one got started. And laxatives, actually, I have a really bad digestive system, so I drink this senna tea, and it's a natural thing, it's a leaf, and I would drink that, and it's a natural laxative, and I really actually did need that at the time because I had a really poor digestive system and I couldn't ever use the bathroom. And but one thing led to another, and I just ended up abusing the laxatives. And ironically, I ended up putting on like 20 pounds during my bulimic phase too, which is just like so counterproductive. Let's see. I told my parents, like, or my mom, like, very quickly, because I really hated the way I was feeling. And I can remember it was Christmas Eve, and I had just like purged all the stocking candy, and I thought I was gonna friggin' die. Like, my insides hurt so bad, and I was cramping, and I just, all these things that like I didn't normally feel like, and I thought I was gonna die. And I mean, that's a little dramatic, but I thought something really bad was happening, and it was like self-inflicted, so it was a whole other level. And I told my mom pretty quickly, but I don't think they had a sense of urgency about it, because like I said, I grew up in a very like conservative family, so like we didn't really talk about mental health very much. I haven't done any therapy. I think ultimately I think something that was very interesting for me is I went to an AA meeting with a friend last year, year and a half ago, and you know, the thing with AA is you're supposed to go in, or NA, sorry, is you're supposed to go in and you're not supposed to talk about your substance of choice, you're just supposed to talk. And I could relate so much to the things that everyone was talking about, and I guess at that point, like, I really, 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 like, I knew it was a problem, but at that point I realized, like, it was, like, full-on addiction, and I think I was just, like, very, like, the way I got over it was just, like, I was very consumed all the time, and I wasn't capable of things, and I just ultimately ended up holding myself back because of my eating disorder, not feeling ready to do things, and it was sabotaging my life. And like, it was super unhealthy too, but psychologically it was so much more hurtful than it was physically. So I think ultimately it was kind of a slow climb out, and I still have days where it's like rough, but I don't feel like I'm a victim anymore. I feel like I have control over it. I don't know, as often, I mean, as much as I admire like self-care routines, I don't think I have a specific routine. I always thought self-care was like getting your nails done and getting facials and stuff, and I kind of just thought it was ridiculous until a couple years ago, and then I was like, I understand what, you have to take care of yourself to take care of others and all of that. But I meditate in the mornings sometimes, probably like a couple times a week. I'll do like 10-minute meditations, and then afterwards a lot of times I'll write down what thoughts were distracting me during the meditation, and that kind of helps me realize like what's important to me. A lot of times the thoughts are just like, when is this going to be over? Like, is my meditation done? Which for me is just being impatient. So like, I would work on patience, that kind of thing. I also require, like, not a lot of alone time, but like, I do know that's a thing about me. So I just try to make sure that I can get enough time to myself. That way I don't end up like venting to people when it's unnecessary. And then I'm a huge fitness junkie, so I work out every day, or I go on hikes or something like that, because I really think like the endorphin rush has been like number one therapy to me. Well, given the pandemic and everything, I feel like this year's been extremely hostile. I think there's a lot of people that are in very dark places right now. I would just say, like, no matter when it feels like it's the end, it's never the end. I am a huge believer in law of attraction, so what you put out into the world will come back to you, and that one's always helped me power through, because it also helps you reflect on yourself and think about what you can be doing better. So, yeah, those are my answers. Thank you.